G'day everyone. We're here on Australia Day, and I'm going to have a crack at one of the Drifter food cooking videos. The idea here is that us fans are going to put together a video of the food that we like to cook when we go camping. For those who've been following the Drifter fans page, you will have seen that I've done a lot of lamb roasts and a lot of different types of roasts over my camping. I like to use all the snow peak gear and the Uniflame gear to do roasting on camp. So given that today's Australia Day, I thought a lamb roast seems completely and utterly appropriate. But to get the ball rolling, the first thing I've got to do is get my heat beads going. I choose to use heat beads with my roasts. I have done them on wood, but I've found that for both roasts and for the pizzas with the field oven, heat beads give me a longer, more consistent heat to cook with, so I've moved from wood to heat beads. So why don't we just get started? As I work through the cooking, I'm also going to show you the Drifter gear that I use for the different cooking that I do on camp. But let's get started with heat beads. Just come over here and we'll take a look. I've got a Uniflame heat bead starter here. What's great about this guy is that it folds flat. So again, when you're camping, you don't want the traditional heat bead starters that take up a lot of room. These Uniflame ones fold dead flat, and Drifter produces a nice boot liner bag that it slides into, so it protects it when it's in travel. So these are great. They just fold open like that. The base folds inside. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll put some heat beads in that one. All right. Now, Drifter make these canvas bags that actually store the heat beads in. So you can buy heat beads at the supermarket and it's about a 4 kilo bag, and they fit right inside these bags. Or if you start buying charcoal in larger bags, which is what I've started to do, you can actually just pour your beads straight into the canvas bag. So these are really handy. So get onto these on the website. So all I need to do is pour some beads into the starter. I only need about 2/3 of one of these. And you'll get a good 2 hours out of cooking out of one of those. So we'll fill that up with beads. All right, and then the next thing we'll need to do is get the fire pit ready to go, and I'll get my fire starter. So I've got my heat beads ready to go, but the next step is I actually need to be able to start the fire. So let's go and get my fire starter that I've got from Drifter. Let's head over to the .70 Quip. This is my camping trailer that I got from Drifter. I've set mine up with a door on the back of the canopy here, so in my kitchen I can access all of my kitchen accessories right from here. I like the steamer boxes, and I've actually got a dedicated box right here for all my fire starter gear. Let's take this out in the light so everybody can see. We'll pop this on the... I've got one of these Uniflame campfire tables. Now the reason I've got one of these is the metal top. So when you're cooking, when you've got the heat around, having metal top tables are really handy because you know you can put your hot things down on it. But let's take a look. So steamer box, straight from the back of the dock. I've got the Korean, that's the Gigatorch that Drifter sells. I've got the Uniflame, I think, Trade Flame flamethrower that Drifter sells. Drifter also sells a starter, which is pretty handy. Uniflame's also got these really neat little devices now that are actually designed to allow you, when you're finished with your cans, you can actually make sure the rest of the gas is out of the can, and you can puncture the side with this device, and it actually allows you to take those cans and put them in regular rubbish rather than having to worry about the high compression cans. So a couple of goodies in my box there. You'll notice that I've got the Drifter can bags that they make up to keep those cans in. The idea of that is that with these gas cans in the back of the trailer or moving around when you're driving around, etc., and you get a bit of vibration or whatever else, I know my cans aren't banging against each other. They've all got a bit of vibration absorption around them. So let's just go ahead. We'll grab one of the cans, and that's the Uniflame flamethrower. So we'll need that. So let's head over and let's get this fire started. All right. We're going to head over to the Snow Peak fire pit. This is where it starts for most people. These fire pits fold flat. They're absolutely fantastic. You can take them into all sorts of campsites, particularly if you get it with the base, because the base catches your embers and things like that. And a lot of campsites these days are just worried about fires. And if you've got one of these to fold flat, this all folds flat, but any ash or anything that comes through here actually gets caught by the base. So these are a really responsible fire pit, as well as being a fantastic part of camping. When you buy the kit, it gives you a bit of this. It's just a bit of stainless that you can put into your fire pit. What's great about that is it can hold these things up when you're starting a fire rather than having to deal down the bottom. That's a really handy accessory. So let's get this started. I just use redhead fire starters. There's all kinds of fire starters on the market. I just get these from the supermarket. I usually go with 4 of them. I pop them in there. I use my my flamethrower. As you can see, that gets that going, no problem at all. Right, and then you use your heat bead starter with your heat beads inside. Just go straight over the top, and that'll take about 20 to 25 minutes for those heat beads to come up to heat, ready to be able to cook. G'day everyone. So while we're waiting for the heat beads to warm up, I'm going to get started. Now the lamb roast really is one of the easiest roasts that you're going to be able to put together on camp. I like it because it's simple. When I go camping, the whole point of camping is relaxing and just taking it easy. That's why I've got all the drifter gear I've got, because it really makes camping easier. So let's take a look at the lamb roast, really straightforward. You can get these lamb roasts. I usually go for a boneless one, so it's much easier to carve when we get to the end of the night. On this camp, this particular one, the Australia Day weekend, Ryan, my son and I are camping, so we only need a small one. This is a 500 gram one. This one won't take long to cook. We've got the lamb roast. You'll see I've got them here on the Snow Peak chopping boards. Now these chopping boards are just fantastic. The drifter guys have just got these in recently, and notice the little edge around here. When you're working with roasts and meat and you get a bit of juice that runs out as you're cooking, it actually catches it around the side, so they're really handy, these. So I've got myself a couple of those. All right, so we're going to start with the lamb roast. You can get your veggies a number of different ways. Everybody's got their preference for veggies. I've found this one at Coles. It's really interesting. It's a roasting vegetable mix that they've already put together that's got carrot and pumpkin and some other veggies, some onion in there. And again, when you're just trying to put together a simple roast on camp, that's easy. I can't always get them, so then I just grab those veggies. It's easy enough to chop those things up. You just chop them up fresh. You have them ready to go. I use these roasting trays. Glad there are other brand ones as well. It's a medium-sized one that you can get from the shops. Again, why I use these aluminium roasting trays is that at the end of the meal, when everything's done, you can actually just collapse that up and put that in the bin, and clean-up's really easy from the roast. Last thing I'll talk about now, you'll see we're going to do another video as well. Ryan likes to cook on camp as well, and he's been starting to get some different herbs and salt and things like that. So on this particular roast, we're going to add some lamb herbs and some salt to add some extra flavour. So that's what we're going to bring together on the roast. I've still got a few more minutes to go before the heat beads are ready. So I'm just going to pause that for a minute. When I get a bit closer, I'm going to put that all together. We'll take a video of that and we'll walk through that. Thank you. So let's talk through the Snow Peak gear that we're going to use to actually prepare the roast. So let's take a look at that. Now, first of all, a new thing that I've got is a Snow Peak coffee table, it's called. And it folds down nice and flat again, which is great for camping, putting away in your trailer. But it also comes with a set of wooden inserts. So normally you've got the wooden inserts in it, and you can just use it in your family room at home if you want. It's a nice enough piece of furniture for that, or it's a fantastic low coffee table for on camp. Now the beauty of the Snow Peak gear is that everything you buy basically interchanges with each other. So I've got the coffee table, but all the gear that I've got from my iron grill table collection also drops in here. So if we just take a quick look, you'll see that I've got my double burner box. I've got my double burner box here. And then the field oven, the Snow Peak field oven, which people often know as the pizza oven, that'll actually sit right on top of that. Right, so when I'm ready to roast, that's going to go across the top like that and hold the heat in, and that's how I get the roasting effect. So that's the field oven on top of the double burner box, which is where I'm going to put the heat beads in a minute. But also this is a 3 wide, that's a double, that's a single, this is a 3 wide. And I've got one of the Snow Peak deep storage boxes that actually drop in as well. And you can see I've got my handles from my pizza and from the winder on the double burner box, but I can also put other things into that storage box as well. Made out of metal, it can handle the heat of what's happening around here, but all the equipment I need is right here. It's all interchangeable. Something like this double burner box, if I feel like cooking differently, that actually comes with its own legs. I can put it on one of my drifter tables and actually cook on a table. So all this gear is interchangeable, really handy, really convenient for camp. So that's what we're going to use to cook the roast tonight. Thank you. Okay guys, so the heat beads are ready, and we're actually going to show you there's an easy way to tell when your heat beads are ready. If you can just zoom down and just have a look on top. When your heat beads are all grey on top, they're actually ready to start cooking with. So it usually takes 20 to 25 minutes, but to be 100% sure, just look for the grey on top of the beads. Now that's going to be super hot, so let's go grab some mitts so that I can get this into the burner box. Now I use these, the Snow Peak fire pit gloves. They're double lined, really comfortable and really quite safe for dealing with how hot these things are. So all we need to do Just pick those guys up, and we're just going to pour them in to the double burner box. Okay, so they're in there. I'm just going to put that to the side. Two snuck away, so I'm just going to pick them up and drop them in. Now here's a tip that I use when I'm cooking. Instead of having all the heat beads in the middle and concentrating all the heat in the middle of the plate, which can cause too much heat on the bottom of their roast and can cause burning, I actually move them towards the outside of the cooking area, like that, so that there's not as much direct heat in the middle, and it'll create radiating heat around the outside. So that's just a tip. All right, now let's go ahead and put the pizza oven on top. First thing is, we've got a grill that sits there. So we pop the grill in, and then this guy goes on top. All right, that'll start warming up. The other thing I need to do is I actually need to take the pizza stone, because I actually put my roast on top of this pizza stone to stop some of the direct heat radiating through to the bottom of my roast again. It actually acts as a diffuser. So I take the pizza stone, I'm going to use that as well, but it's important that that doesn't go into the heat straight away because it can crack. So what we'll do is we'll just pop that on top there. As it all warms up, the pizza stone will get warm, and then I'll put that inside before I put my roast on. So now we'll go over and prepare the roast to put it into the oven. Okay, so now we're just going to put the roast together. Again, as I said before, this is one of the easiest meals you'll ever cook on camp. Go for the disposable baking trays. Again, it makes it really easy. I'm just going to take my roast now and take it out of its packet. I'm just going to put that there. That can go in my rubbish bin here. Thanks, Ross Bowring, for giving me the tip for putting the crock bin on the end of the kitchen there. That was a great tip when we went to the Tara camel races last year. That was fantastic. So I've got my roast in there. Before I go too far, I'm going to grab some of Ryan's lamb herbs. Now, what's the tip here, Ryan? Do I just sprinkle some of these over the top? Is that how you do it?
Just a little sprinkle.
Just a little sprinkle. Thanks, Ryan. That's a little extra. Ryan's, I got my son teaching me how to make things a little bit better now. I'm going to grab my roast veggie mix, and I'm just going to pour these around the outside. Oh, I'll keep him for a minute. Okay, just put those around the outside. No rocket science here, but the key is to make sure that your vegetables are spread around so that they're even around the dish. If they're all lumped on top of each other, they won't get a chance to cook separately. So spread them around. If you've got some rosemary, put that in there for flavour. And that's right, there's some garlic in this kit as well. So I'm going to make sure the garlic's on top there so that the garlic juices or flavour will go into the lamb. So really, it is that easy to put it together. Now, everybody thinks the hardest thing with a roast is working out how long it's going to take. There's a really simple formula. For every ½ kilo of meat, you need a ½ hour of cooking. That's a ½ kilo piece of lamb. So it's going to take about a ½ hour to cook. Because I'm cooking outside on heat beads, etc., I usually give things a little bit more time to make sure they cook. So I might cook this one as much as an extra 15 minutes. So this might be a 45-minute cook. But that's it. It's ready to go. So let's go ahead and put it into the oven now. All right. So we'll take this over. I'll just put it on the side there. But the first thing I need to do is to get my pizza stone inside. And actually, this is why it's good to have a metal stove. A metal table. There's my accessories in the side box. I'll pick up my pizza stone. I slide that inside. That can go in there. Now I'll grab my roast again. I'll just pop him to the side for a minute. Now that top's going to be hot now. So I'm just going to grab my snow peak mitts again. I'll just lift this off for a moment, pop it to the side. I'll grab my roast. I'll put my roast right in the middle there. And then I'll put my Snow Peak field oven over the top. And I say, even though it's not perfectly closed like a home oven or some of your cast iron cook pots, the way that works is it traps all the heat in the top so it roasts perfectly. All different types of meat. I've done scones in there. I've even done an apple crumble in there. So anything that you traditionally do in an oven, you can do with the Snow Peak field oven. That's in. That's good to go. I'd say probably about 45 minutes for the cook on this one. So we're going to let that cook now, and we'll come back to you when it comes out ready to be served. A little bit dark and the roast is still cooking, it's time to add a little extra light to what we're working. So now I'm bringing out the Snow Peak pile driver, which is a fantastic device for adding light to where you're cooking. One of its features has got a rubber cap on the foot, but it's actually got a sharp spigot on the end, and the idea of that is that you're going to be able to bang it into the ground. So I'm going to open that up, and then I loosen off one of the bolts at the top, and now that becomes ready for me to bang it in the ground. So let's go ahead and put some light over our cooking area here. So I'm just going to put it to the side. Now this dirt here is actually really, really hard dirt. It's not soft, it's been baked in the sun, there's no grass here. But with the pile driver, I'm going to be able to easily put this into the ground. All right, that's in. I flip this piece over and turn it around. That's where I'm going to hang my light. I adjust the height to where I want it. It's actually got two adjustments here, so you can actually go quite high if you want to. So I turn that off, and then in my pocket is one of the fantastic small Hazuki lamps. I'm just going to go ahead and turn that on. It's quite bright, and I can just hang that over there. And now we've got all the extra light that we need for the roast that we're cooking. We've reached the point now where the roast is ready. This one's actually taken 60 minutes tonight in the end. The veggies, they needed the 60 minutes. The meat was fine, but the vegetables take 60, and quite often that's actually the norm. If you've got veggies in there, always plan for about 60 minutes on the veggies. So we're ready to take it off, so let's just go through that process now. The pizza hood, the field oven hood, will be hot, so I'm going to go back to my Snow Peak gloves, just for protecting my hand. These are great. So pizza hood comes off, and just come over if you can, Ryan. I don't know if you'll be able to see that in the light, but just take a look at that roast. Looks absolutely fantastic. That's absolutely ready. Happy Australia Day. All right, so let's bring that off and bring that over into our dot kitchen. Okay, so we can see that fine. Alrighty, just put the gloves over here. So now it's time to carve. So I've got the Snow Peak medium chop board. This is actually, I think that's the large chop board, that one. These are fantastic. They open up flat, right, like that, and you've got your chop board. But the cool thing about them is they have a Snow Peak knife inside, and these knives are fantastic. They're so sharp. So I really look after that because I've always got a sharp knife in my dot as a result of that. So there's our knife. All right, so this is where these Snow Peak boards are going to come into their own. We grab our roast out. We'll take the garnish off. The first thing I'm going to want to do here is just cut these cords on it. Okay. You can see how easy that is. It's good. Nothing like having a sharp knife. I don't know if people have said this to you before, but a sharp knife's actually the safest knife. If you have a blunt knife, you end up having to work harder to make things happen, and that's when you're pushing harder for things to cut, etc. That's when bad things happen with a knife. So, sharp knife is your best knife. Okay, that one's good. That one's good, and that one's good. All right. So let me just take those strings off now. I'll be able to pop them straight into my bin. Thanks, Ross. We talked about that before, Ross, but having that bin there is so handy. And when we pack up the trailer, that bin actually just comes off the end and goes inside the canopy, so it doesn't take up any space in the kitchen when the kitchen's folded away. All right, so the strings are off. You can see that okay, Ryan?
Yep.
It's all good. All right. Well, let's go ahead. I'll create myself a little bit of room here. Let's go ahead and carve this. So, you know what, Ryan? We might spin around 180. Let's get let's carve it this way, and that way we'll have the light going into it.
There we go.
How's that roast? How does that look? All right, you see how sharp that Snow Peak knife is, and look at that, absolutely perfect. We've got a bit of hardness in the top there, cooked all the way through. So that's going to be our dinner tonight. 200 grams of beautiful lamb roast each. All right, so we'll just leave that there for a sec. Come over, we'll just have a look. You'll see our veggies there. So we've got a nice mix of carrots and pumpkin and some onion, etc. So that's going to be fantastic. All right, so there you go. So that's an example. That's as the first of the cooking videos. Lamb roast, really, really simple. Took an hour of cooking time in the end just to get the veggies to a nice soft level. Easy to prepare. Cleanup's going to be really easy because at the end of the night, we're going to we'll eat our meal here, but then all the rubbish is going to go back into that tray, and then we're just going to fold that tray up. Before I go, I do want to get my Snow Peak plates out.
Ooh.
So again, this is the Snow Peak. This is actually the Snow. Make some noise there. But this is the Snow Peak plate set, and it actually comes with 2 of everything. So it comes with 2 plates, but 2 bowls, right? 2 small bowls, 2 large bowls. It's just fantastic. It's all lightweight. It's stainless steel. It'll handle heat. It's really resilient. It comes in a great storage bag. But that's our Snow Peak plates. So we'll go ahead and we'll eat our dinner on our Snow Peak plates as well. But yeah, when we're all done, all the rubbish will just go into that container. We'll fold it up neat, pop it in the bin, wash our plates, and it's actually a really easy clean up as well. So there you go, lamb roast, really easy to do. If you haven't cooked on camp before, I encourage you to start there because it's so easy to do. You can cook it in lots of different types of devices. Obviously I've shown you how we can do it in the Snow Peak field oven, but you can do it in a classic oven. You've got lots of options for how you get a roast done. So highly recommended. Happy Australia Day everyone.